Shalom, children. Are you ready to listen to a new adventure? Now that the Israelites are no longer in Mitzrayim, it's their turn to see how much they will trust Yahweh. Let's see if their faith was strengthened by watching His hand do such awesome miracles, whilst protecting them from the plagues. The Israelites followed the instructions carefully and did all they needed to do to observe the first Passover in history. Early the next morning, Yahweh told them it was time to leave. So they gathered their things such as the unleavened bread, flocks and herds, and started out on their long journey. In order that they would be able to know which direction to go in, Yahweh guided them in a pillar of cloud by day, and at night when it was dark, He guided them in a pillar of fire. Wow, isn't that incredible? Meanwhile, back at the palace, Pharaoh changed his mind again. Oh dear. He was so furious about losing his son that his fear of being wiped out by Yahweh turned to anger, and he changed his mind about letting them all go. He was determined to wipe the Israelites off the earth. The Israelites kept following the pillars until Yahweh had them set up camp by the sea. Yahweh knew that Pharaoh's army would catch up to them, and they would think that they had won when they saw that the Israelites were trapped and couldn't escape because of the sea. But this was the way Yahweh had chosen to make it known once and for all to the Mitzrites that He was the only Elohim. Pharaoh had been busy getting his huge army of 600 chariots ready to go after the Israelites. It didn't take long to catch up to them. When the Israelites saw Pharaoh's army coming, you would think they would say, "No problem, Yahweh will fight for us." But no, they got scared. They saw the sea in front of them and Pharaoh's army behind them, and they panicked and started complaining and crying and whinging. They wished that Moshe had left them alone, even though they had been miserable as slaves. Oh dear, it looks like their faith wasn't strong enough yet, does it? Moshe told them to hush and sit tight, because Yahweh would take care of them. He was going to deal with Pharaoh's army, and the Hebrews would never, ever see them again. Yahweh told Moshe to lift his rod towards the sea and split the sea in half, so that the Israelites would be able to walk across on dry land. Pharaoh's army would be fooled into thinking that they could cross also, but that was not going to happen. So Moshe lifted his hands, and an east wind blew all night, and made the sea split into two. In the morning, the Israelites looked, and there was a wall of water on each side, and down the middle was dry land for them to walk on. The Israelites started walking forward on the path of dry land. It took them a while to get across, but Yahweh moved His pillar of cloud behind them to shield them from Pharaoh's army. At night, the pillar of fire would still guide them. Can you imagine the scene? This was better than going to the aquarium. Just think, the same east wind that brought the locusts up to eat all the plants in Mitzrayim is now splitting the sea for the Israelites to go across. Pharaoh's army tried to cross in the morning, but Yahweh was watching. First, He made the wheels of the chariots come off. Pharaoh's army were terrified because they knew that it was Yahweh who had done this. They tried to turn and run away, but Yahweh told Moshe to lift up his arms again toward the sea, and the water closed down on top of Pharaoh's army. All the army that had chased after the Israelites died that day. At last, the Israelites recognized how great Yahweh is, and saw that Moshe really was his messenger. It certainly took them long enough though, don't you think? After all that happened, Moshe dedicated a song to Adonai, praising the wonders of Yahweh. It is such an amazing song that we still sing it today. Do you know the song Mi Chamocha? We will hear the song at the end of this video. Miriam, Moshe's sister, took out her timbrel, which is like a tambourine, and she led all the other ladies to dance for Yahweh. Wow, I bet that was the biggest praise team ever. Can you imagine all those voices singing and all those instruments playing? What a wonderful noise to Yahweh! Well, children, we have come to the end of our story for today. So we will see you next time for another exciting Torah portion. Shalom.